ഇപ്പോൾ തിരുവനന്തപുരത്ത് CPIM ജനറൽ സെക്രട്ടറി സീതാറാം യെച്ചൂരി മാധ്യമങ്ങളെ കാണുകയാണ്. അതിലേക്ക്
Yes, my dear friends, you are the link between all of us and the people. So you have to be careful with all the sanitizers. So be please careful. And when there are new strains that are developing now. And thank you very much for inviting me to the Trivandrum Press Club. It's always a pleasure to come here. And my experience has been that more than what I say in the beginning, most of the news is about the questions and answers later. So I think I'll be very brief. And only tell you that right now, whatever be the appeals that are being made by the opposition UDF leaders or the BJP, I've travelled from Kasaragod till Trivandrum, covering 10 of the 14 districts in Kerala. And from all the response that I can gauge, people of Kerala are going to make history in re-electing the LDF government once again in 2021. And this will be breaking the chain of alternating of nearly 50 years or half a century. Yeah. Now the reason why I'm coming to that, reason why I come to that assessment, I'll just explain. There are four major factors. First is the work done during the last 5 years. And I think the LDF government in Kerala is the only government in the whole country, irrespective of the political parties they belong to, the state governments, which has actually fulfilled the target set for itself and for the people and for the state 5 years ago. Of the 600 tasks laid out in the manifesto last time, more than 580 have been fulfilled, and the others are in the pipeline. This is an achievement that is unprecedented in India today by any state government. So people are responding positively to that factor. And this is particularly important, the background of all the promises made by PM Modi and the BJP and the complete hollowness of those promises. In direct contrast is this experience. That is the first positive. The second positive is that all this could happen even at a time of unprecedented natural disasters that struck Kerala. Demonetization, GST implementation were universal things for all over the country. Those problems were there in Kerala also. But on top of that, you had your floods, you had the cyclone, and after that, the corona, the first case being identified in Kerala, and the pandemic and the national lockdown and the migrant workers crisis. These 5 years have been 5 years of completely unprecedented problems before the people, the state and the government, state government. In spite of that, this achievement could be done and service to the people was achieved, which was highly appreciated not only in India, not only in Kerala, but in India and abroad. So that was the second positive. The third positive is that all this could happen also in spite of extreme hostility by the central government. None of the requests made by Kerala state government for assistance to meet the natural disasters, for people's humanitarian relief, none of them were given by the central government. Whatever was given was a paltry small amount of what was needed. Not only that, they in fact the central government stopped external governments from assisting the state government who wanted to give humanitarian aid. Even that was not allowed. While such aid was accepted by the central government and many other state governments, but for Kerala they denied it. So despite, and also the way Kerala has been targeted and the principles of federalism were completely violated, the dues to the state under the GST were not paid for a long time. The cooperation that was required from the center on many occasions, I'm not going into those details, but were not forthcoming. So despite this hostility, the LDF government could achieve what it could achieve in terms of service to the people and welfare for the people and the progress of the state. That is commendable. The fourth, and I think very important positive, is that on every issue confronting the country, the Kerala's LDF government and the Kerala Assembly has adopted an alternative approach, which was actually a positive pointer for the people who were in the midst of struggles all over the country. First, take for instance some examples. I'm not saying the exhaustive list, but some examples. The CAA, for instance. Kerala Assembly was one of the first to have rejected the CAA. And he said that that will not be implemented. The NPR will not be implemented in the state. And that sent a signal to the other opposition state governments, and some others followed. And that galvanized the anti-CAA movement in the country. That Indian constitution does not permit the grant of citizenship based on religion. This is violative of the constitution and therefore is not acceptable. As simple as that. That was the alternate approach. Take for instance now the more than 4 month long farmers' struggle that's going on the borders of Delhi, demanding the repeal of these agricultural laws that actually sell our agriculture to the corporates, destroy our peasantry, and impose great burdens of artificial price rise and hoardings and food scarcity, because they'll go into the hands of entirely the private sector, the corporate sector. Asking for the repeal of these bills and discuss with the farmers and other stakeholders what are the agricultural reforms required for the country, and then with proper discussion pass them in the parliament. Till then repeal these bills. Modi government does not accept. Kerala Assembly was one of the first to reject these agricultural acts that were passed by the parliament, saying agriculture is a state subject. Without consulting the states, how was this done? Very correct. And then alternative. Relief to both agriculture and the farmers were provided by the LDF government, to the extent that Kerala is the only state in the country that has a minimum support price for vegetables. 16 vegetables have minimum support price in Kerala, which is unprecedented anywhere else. So I'm only giving you these 3 examples to show that every major issue confronting the country. Or take the 4th example, the loot of our national wealth that is taking place under the name of Mr. Modi's self-reliance or Atmanirbhar Bharat. I've said this in Parliament also, so they can't hold me in contempt. That for Prime Minister Modi, self-reliance means self, that is Prime Minister Modi, and reliance. Self plus reliance is his concept of self-reliance. The whole of the country is being sold. Public sector entirely is being privatized. And alternative approach was shown by Kerala government how? That no state public sector undertaking will be privatized in Kerala. Number 1. Loss-making state public sector undertakings will be converted into profit-making through whatever necessary measures that need to be taken. And nearly 1/3 of the loss-making public sector units in Kerala have now turned into profit-making. So all these 4 examples that I've given you are only examples in the various issues confronting the country, Kerala governments, LDF governments, alternative approach. And that is the pro-people approach that the CPIM and our party has been advocating, and that is what we are supporting. So these 4 reasons why I think, after traveling from Kasaragod till here, addressing on an average 3 to 4 meetings a day and meeting thousands of people, I have come to this conclusion that history is in the making in Kerala. The LDF government will return. Now, the only other point I want to touch on, bereft of any issues that concern the people and the progress of the state, the opposition, the UDF and the BJP, are actually trying to create controversies in order to divert people's attention without basically addressing the actual issues of their livelihood and their progress. The BJP leader, for instance, again repeated yesterday that the people of Kerala have alternatively been tasting the LDF and the UDF, so now give the BJP a chance. I'm sure the people of Kerala will give an answer to that poser by saying, yes, we are used to drinking coffee and tea alternatively. But that doesn't mean for a change we'll drink poison. So the BJP will be answered in such a way. But then various other controversies that are coming, which are not controversies at all. This central government is now become known for the misuse of the CBI and the ED against all opposition state governments. And in Kerala particularly, they have been using it very, very unscrupulously and in a targeted way. And in this midst of it, the UDF, which is supposed to be the principal opponent to the LDF, UDF has been playing in tandem with the BJP all along in all these controversies. And that is why when the BJP leader says, give me 35 MLAs in Kerala, I'll form the government. The danger is there behind this, that BJP lost the Karnataka election to Congress, but BJP is now in government. BJP lost the Madhya Pradesh election to the Congress, but BJP is in government. So they are so confident, the BJP, that they can buy over Congress MLAs. And with 35 seats, they think they'll cross the 70 mark and form the government. So this nature of the politics of the UDF and the BJP playing in tandem with each other, that itself is a signal to the people of Kerala that it is required that both will have to be set aside for the progress of Kerala and its the welfare of its people. And now this very senior leader, Mr. Anthony. Mr. Anthony was Chief Minister in Kerala when I was a student still. And we were in the Rajya Sabha for many, many years, for more than a decade. And he's a senior political leader, maintaining his, respecting his seniority. He has made some comments about the CPIM and how we function and what will happen to my party, and very, very concerned about what will happen to the CPM in the future. All that I'll request him to do is, sir, please, you don't know how the CPM functions. So please don't worry about the CPIM, and instead please worry about your Congress party. Please set your Congress party in motion, because you have said that you are going to retire and concentrate on Congress politics. So please set your party in turn. Please decide, at least for now, nearly 2 years are over, who is the president of the Congress party? What is happening to the Congress party? Why are Congress party MLAs being bought over so easily by the BJP to form their own governments? These are matters that you please concentrate on. You don't worry about us. We'll take care, and the people of Kerala will take care. So you please bother about your party. And therefore, in today's, he also said, last minute there'll be an understanding between the LDF and the BJP. Very strange. I was in Guruvayur. And can you expect a seat like Guruvayur, the BJP does not have a candidate? That's a seat, it is never not contested. But this time there is no candidate. What does the meaning of Mr. O. Rajagopal when he said last time he won the Neelam constituency with the support of the Congress party? So who is going making these deals? What is the BJP going to do in seats where it could not put up a candidate? And it is very clear the sort of deals that are likely in the making. It's happened in the past also. We have overcome that in the past also. And yesterday I was in Kollam district, where the vote of BJP and the UDF put together is less than the vote that the LDF polled. And that is going to be the pattern all across this state this time. That is my assessment. So I think that is where the matter stands. So, in a few days, the votes will be cast, and we only want the Election Commission to be objective and independent, please. The way in which they put in abeyance these Rajya Sabha seats puts a big question mark on their independence. It's never happened. Even the judiciary cannot interfere once the election process has been announced and initiated. All challenges to any election are only taken up after the electoral process is over. While the electoral process is going on, nobody can interfere. That is the mandate of the Indian Constitution. How can a reference by a government of India make the Election Commission defer the elections to the Rajya Sabha once having announced it, once announced the schedule of nomination withdrawal and the polling date? This is very bizarre, and it only makes us feel suspicious that the whole game is to wait till the assembly elections to hope that there is a change in the composition of the assembly, so that currently, out of the 3 seats, the LDF will win 2. In order to change that, this sort of a maneuver is... This is absolutely unconstitutional. The people of Kerala cannot be denied their representation in the Council of States. Once these people have retired, which they did, I think, a couple of days ago, that vacant place has to be filled up, otherwise the deprivation is the people of Kerala. And how can they be denied their representative in the upper house, the Council of States? And Council of States is important for every state. But this is the way the election is. So we are appealing to the Election Commission, be objective, please be independent. You are the only authority under Indian Constitution to hold free and fair election with a level playing field. That is the mandate of the Constitution. And the Election Commission, I hope, will be fulfilling that mandate. So these are the few issues I wanted to raise. Now, up to you.
The Election Commission of India is said to give the permission for the judicial probe against central investigation in the agency that the government operates, and also has stopped the distribution of rice.
Also?
Has stopped the distribution of rice, stopped the distribution of rice to the needy. So, is ECI and the Kerala government in a position to
No, that the Kerala government has said that it's going to apply to the, it's going to move the judiciary on the manner that the CBI has come in. Now, I think that is a legitimate right of any elected government. How that is to be connected with the elections, that the Election Commission will have to explain. This is a legitimate executive action by any government. So, that the Election Commission will have to explain how it is and how it has stopped the distribution of rice, pre-decided announced program. And the MCC is very clear. MCC has got no statutory backing. MCC has got the backing because it was universally accepted by all the stakeholders in the elections, that is mainly the political parties. And that is the way the Election Commission has been functioning for the last 70 years. That everything that is decided and implemented is on the basis of consensus between the political parties. Now, unfortunately, that process is getting frayed. That the Election Commission will have to take into cognizance. None of these decisions can be unilateral without consulting the stakeholders, that is the political parties.
In fact, the defense minister was just speaking a while back, and he
Speaking of?
He was just speaking a while back, defense minister.
Defense Minister Rajnath.
And speaking of what?
No, he was just speaking a while back, and he made
Oh,
that-
while back. I thought you were talking of some subject.
So he was saying about how the cabinet's decision to go ahead and order for the judicial probe is against the federal constitution of India, the provisions of federal constitution in India. How does the left look
The
at
Honorable Defense Minister must reread the Constitution. That's all I can say. No central agency can interfere or work in any state without the concurrence of the state concerned. And if the state concerned is not willing to give that concurrence, then it has to get a judicial intervention. It cannot be a direct intervention like what they are doing. In fact, what is violative of the federal principles is what the central government is doing.
Correct.
Comrade, you have travelled across Kerala and interacted with the party leaders. And in how many seats, in your opinion, there will be a tactical understanding between Congress and BJP in Kerala to destabilize LDF?
Well, you're asking something that is impossible to to answer. But I would say the 3 seats that the BJP is not contesting, where are its votes going? O. Rajagopal ji has already said that as far as Nemam was concerned last time. So now where is its vote going in Nemam? Now Manjeshwaram is one seat they always kept saying that they are targeting. Now what will happen there? So these 5 are readily identified. Now how many more are there? Because the BJP is the master of one particular tactic in Indian politics, and that is what we always call the hidden agenda. Its agenda is never before the people. It has its hidden agenda. So what is hidden in the number of seats, that only they can answer. But definitely this is what the trend is pointing. And therefore our appeal to the people is they must vote the LDF in such a large measure that even the combined vote of both of them can be defeated.
Do you think that in Kerala, the Congress party in Kerala is following the UP line, collaborating with the BJP in its political agenda?
Well, that is for the Congress to answer. Somewhere they have this, they want to outdo Sadhvi Ritambara in Madhya Pradesh. They want to give more Hindutva-list slogans than what she gives. Now, is this Hindutva competitiveness between them is only feeding the Hindutva communal polarization. It is for